Okay, welcome. Who here is not a morning person? Not a morning person. Who here is morning person? Right. Oh, I envy you. Oh God. I would love to be a morning person, just wake up and be like, oh, there's a new day coming, energy, and jeez. Right, so let's crack on, shall we? First day, second day, first talk. Oh, it's always very, very hard. One thing, if I'll be talking too fast, just let me know, because I sometimes do talking too fast, especially in English. So if you feel like I'm talking too fast, just let me know. So the topic of the presentation, too lazy for that, and how to transform in a place where everyone says cannot be done. So who here is a lazy person? Who here considers themselves creatively lazy person? And productively lazy? Great, okay, so it's quite a big part of you. So, the case is, why do I ask these questions? Because sometimes laziness is considered a problematic word just because the negative connotations of it. So, this presentation will say about, actually, quite a few things changed from when I started doing this presentation, just because my team grew, because me being lazy, turns out that I did quite a pretty good job. So, what we'll talk about, this is the topics, so we'll start from what's the problem, what's the situation, how we can fix it, and what can we do, like from the technical perspective and non-technical perspective to make it work. Who am I? My name is Karolina Ochlik. I always laugh at my position because it says nothing. My position is Engineering Excellence Lead, which transforms to Associate Director in Software Engineering, kind of way. So I'm responsible for making things easier for developers in R&D, IT, and AstraZeneca. So the part that supports scientists in introducing new drugs. So my experience, telco, fintech, pharma, so like multiple highly regulated areas when it comes to DevOps stuff. So in my work, apart from doing everything technically, so doing the scripts and programs and APIs and monitoring and things like that, I also combine it with soft skills. So if I join a team to consult them or work with them or adopt the things that I created, I always work, apart from the technicalities, I also work how can we improve your communications within the team. So how can we, develop also a trust in the team itself. These are does it work? Yes, it works. Oh, heck yeah. Who here will be offended if I swear from time to time? No one. That's great. That's fucking great. These are my socials. I don't have many socials. You can find me on LinkedIn. I check LinkedIn quite often, but also my website because everyone has a website. So I did quite easy HTML one. The problem. The problem in the current corporate world, because what I will focus on is I will focus on the corporate world when everything is slow, everything has process, everything has paperwork, and so on and so far. Because in startups and in small companies, everything just works. You just request something, you have it, or you do it by yourself. So the problem is, let's say that I am a developer. I want an environment. So what should I do? I should land a ServiceNow request to a team that will do another request, they will do another request to another team, and everything combined after 6 months, I will receive an environment. Right? Environment being a simple EKS cluster with networks, with permissions, and everything like that. What happens if I want to change it? If I want to change the environment, do I have the permissions to do it? No, of course not. If I want to add another user, let's say new engineer comes in and I need to add them to a Kubernetes cluster, and I need them to have separate service account. And what happens then? You need to fire a request. Where? In fucking ServiceNow. And how long does ServiceNow, how long does support team take to resolve the ticket? 2 weeks, 3 months? Are you talking from experience or something? Too long. That's the perfect answer. Oh, I got you. It takes around 2 to 3 weeks, which means he cannot do anything on a cluster for 2 weeks, and it is too long. So more teams are being, so engineering teams are always like fancy to do some quick work. I want to do it faster. I want to try new things. I want to try everything that I can in order to bring value. So there's more requests. There's more things happening in the ServiceNow team. So we're doing so much that we cannot meet the SLA. So everyone starts jumping around. Everyone starts yelling, oh, this is happening, we are waiting too long. From 2 weeks, it started to be 4 weeks, and from 4 weeks, it started to be 5 weeks, and everything like that. So what happens then? The management tells us that, stop working? We need to add more engineers. So the support teams need to add new people, right? So let's make more people do the same thing. It will do the same thing, but more efficiently. Turns out that you can do this indefinitely. You can, if you do it, you're just buying time, because then it starts to grow, it starts to grow, it starts to grow, and then, you know, support teams are growing. So the case is, why is it happening? Any ideas? Why it's happening? Nobody cares. I think they care, but the other way around. So, when it comes to day-to-day work, what we have is in corporate world, because I was working in many banks, I was working in a few of the telco companies, and I've never had a situation where this didn't happen in some way or another. So, when it comes to standardization, which is a first step to create good automation, there is none of it in service teams. So when you have service-driven company, everything is service-driven. So support is service-driven, application development is service-driven, which means you need to have service team. You need to dispatch the tickets to given person. So you have first line, second line, third line. You have incidents, you have problems, you have change. So basically you're following the ITIL process, especially ITIL V2 and V3. You will have problems just because everything standards are only inside the team. So the team knows what team knows. Tribal knowledge, anyone? So there's the thing is called tribal knowledge. So when it comes to company-wide processes, the only process is you need to fire a request to ServiceNow. Right? That's the only standardization. So if there is no standardization, there is no automation. Right? So I cannot automate it. I need to go to the cluster. I need to type in some comments or copy-paste it from OneNote. I won't say that I saw this happen because somebody showed me how they do it. But they copy-pasted it from OneNote, like literally, drag, copy, enter terminal, paste, and everything happened. So there's no automation. Nothing happens there automatically. So nothing happens, meaning everyone enters something, does it manually, regarding if it's monitoring, if it's maintenance. I personally love automatic maintenance. I love when everything does itself. Which creates a separate problem called obfuscation, which means if I need to do something, I need to go to certain people who has been there long enough that they know everything, just because from the experience, right? If nothing changes for 10 or 15 years, people who has been there for 10 or 15 years, if there's a person there, he knows everything. He's a god. I can go to him. Hey, Jack, how can I do it? Oh, you need to go to this person, then to this person. You have this forms, Microsoft Forms form. Ugh, I hate Microsoft. Microsoft Forms that you need to fill in, and create a Jira, attach this. It's just a long way. So there's this tongue twisters on morning. Obfuscation pattern, which creates a layer for you so you don't know what you should do. And that's a very big problem for me. So, how can we do it? The journey is quite a long one, you can say. When I started writing this presentation, my team had 2 people in it. I was me and my leader. So this team is quite new. Now we have around 8 people, and we're still following this road up to this point. It's 8 people after 7 months now, and we're trying to hire 3 more, but that's a whole another story. So the first step, always the first step, you need to see what you have. You need to catalog it. So if you don't know what you don't know, how can you know what you know? Okay, I did quite messed up there. But if you know what you have, and if you know the problems inside that catalog, you know where are the quick wins, what's the highest priority, what's the critical problem, what's the critical solution. And this means that the obfuscation just basically blends out from it. So maybe ask, maybe see, maybe do some cataloging, like we have 20 applications written in Java, we have 10 applications written in Python, and we are doing everything differently. So every process is completely different. So this means the cataloging is very time consuming, just because there are so many things happening there. You need to, but this is a very important step, because you need to know what is there to be done. So the next step, prepare and standardize, meaning if you have the set of applications, standards, processes, now you can work, how can we unify it into one process? Why unify into one process? Because it's always easier to reuse than develop new. So if you create an application, you'd rather you reuse something that you created, I don't know, some time ago, or do you just create it from the scratch? How you guys do it? Reuse. Anyone create it from the scratch? Depends. On a case. Okay. Right. Okay. I got you. But it's much easier to reuse stuff than to create one, just because if you create a workflow and then you change application a little just for it to be built using generic stuff, then you can proceed it with, you can add process on top of it, so you can add another building blocks to it. So that's why we can talk with developers, or we can talk with engineers, regardless if it's operations, developers, DevOps, SREs. We can talk where are the common points that we can follow and that we can create. There's a very important thing here on the bottom called question things. I always say that this is my favorite thing to do. Why does it happen this way? Yesterday there was a good talk about leaders and that leaders are afraid of coaching. Now, why is the most powerful question that you can ask when something happened? Why did it happen? Why did we allow it to happen? Why do we do it this way? These are the questions that you can ask yourself, that you can ask your teams, you can ask teams that you work with. How and why? This will lead you to a point where somebody says something that we need to do it, or we have to do it this way just because somebody said it. And then you can go to them and ask, why did you say it? Maybe 10 years ago it was a completely different thing, it was a completely different setup for people. If you have everything standardized, if you ask the right questions, if you asked it a good amount of times, you have place to automate and reuse. So we can, if we have process standardized, this means I can create a generic code for it. If I have building blocks, I have steps for the process, I can code them, because there's always quite a similar thing. Let's say everyone does a fast API, Python API, and they build the Docker images out of it. If 40 teams will use the same workflow, it will be much more versatile than everyone creating it on their own, following the trial and error. The last part, some people say that, oh, you're following the Scrum rules. I don't, I hate Scrum. It says iterate, which means you follow it until the success, and success comes never. So then there is never point of success. So the perfection is the goal, but it's not the target. So you will not just reach the perfection. So it's time to iterate on it, iterate and iterate on it. But the case is, while you're at it, if you do these 4 things and you iterate until the goal is, does it work? No. Until the goal is met, you will see that it's becoming so much easier and easier and easier and easier, because you're automating so many things that it's so much easier to add things on top of it. So, the very important question, it stopped working, innit? Boop. Now it works. So, how can we do it? Who here knows about Backstage? Okay, quite a small amount. So, I don't want to be like doing the selling pitch for CNCF, but what is Backstage? The formatting went down. What is Backstage? Backstage is a developer portal which does most of the things for you. So it catalogs, it shows dependencies, you have labels, you have owners. So basically, it shows everything about your applications, about your components. It can be infrastructure, can be APIs, everything is there. But the case is, you need to do everything manually for the first time. So you need to add YAMLs. Everything is YAML driven, so every component is described by YAML, labels, names, and everything like that. It was developed by Spotify, then it was open source, and now it's under CNCF. There's quite wide adoption in companies just because how easy it is. I will drop it because it doesn't work. So what it does here, what I showed here is one part of something called system, which is a high-level explanation of a product. So this is one of my products, my team and my team's products. So you can see on the right side there are components out of it. So there's a backend, frontend, and stages, which does automatic maintenance. There is a team that owns it, and there is a part of organization that it's a part of. There are links, there are components, there's information. And if we have resources like maybe infrastructure, APIs, everything like that, it will be here. So you have all the information that you might need in front of your eyes, and it could be automated. Also, a huge part of Backstage success is something called scaffolder template, which is template. So if you need to create a repository, you can create a template for it, and this template will land you a fully fledged repository with the workflows, with the boilerplate code, with the README, with everything that you need, because it will be already set up. Who has used GitHub templates? Okay, no one? Oh, there's quite a few people. Okay, so it works pretty much the same way, but the case is it's customizable. So you can specify inputs, you can specify there's some lists, maybe teams, maybe owners, and things like that. And in this case, what you can see, this is one of my templates. It will create a fully fledged full stack application, pretty much similar to the previous one, to the previous slide, with front-end, back-end, and high-level explanation component, which has also automated documentation. So it will create a repo, actually 3 of them. It will register them in the backstage, and it will just template out everything that you need. So the information about the team, the product, the name, the mails, everything like that. And this is basically like the critical point in my team, just because when I created the template some time ago, and I got notification that we need to do some GitHub actions, and we need to quite 4 or 5 of them. I created the first thing I created was created a template for the boilerplate GitHub action thing, and then just clicked, and I had a skeleton of action. So there's no copy pasting. There is no things like that included. Second part of the success was using GitHub workflows, but using the GitHub workflows, I don't want to say the hard way, but my goal was, as a then developer of 4 applications and multiple other things, at some point I was committing to have 25 or something repositories. I had to have everything inside just closed space, so everything was needed to be in the GitHub itself, meaning there will need to be quite hefty ones. So this is a standard build process for one of the applications, building images, building documentation, SonarQube scan, and things like that, unit testing, everything like that. But one of the parts of this workflows would be releasing things, and also since the release is happening in the GitHub, everything would be accepted also by the product owner of the application. Quite a few steps to it. So get information where you have Jira fixed version link, where you have GitHub repository name, changelog if somebody wrote one. So if somebody wrote the changelog for it, like a raw text for it, it was happening. It will be here hidden. There are release notes, meaning the API call to Jira API, multiple things. So basically ETL process, got things from Jira, passed it, and spit out the HTML, nice looking thing. What are we releasing in this part? Everything is being done automatically. Promoting image, deploying and running release. Running release is a part where there is a automatic creation of ServiceNow change. The compliance policies in AstraZeneca say that every release to production needs to be registered in ServiceNow, which means in this part, I'm just notifying ServiceNow, hey, ServiceNow, this is the change, it is done, and everything is happening automatically there. So if it's enclosed in GitHub, my product owner knows about it, and he accepted it. He knows what is inside it. He knows what happened here. He knows what's the repository. He knows what are the tests and everything like that, because it shows everything. The knowledge is there. I stopped getting questions from what are we releasing, because when I was releasing some time ago, I always had questions, okay, Karolina, but what are we releasing? What's inside this release? What will users know? Now, I don't need it, because he knows everything. He can check it by himself. There is a Jira fixed version link, which presents information for him. And to do that, I needed to create quite a huge map of workflows and actions, with the high-level structure being it. If I'm doing something with application, with workflows, I'm trying to find a way to make it generic so that you can specify the paths, you can specify the thing. I don't know some of these languages, so I don't know R, so I don't know the build process for it. But doing the things this way, send a message to teams that I work with, you can do it too. So they started to we started to inner source it. So they started to come around and just basically add their code to it. So workflow repositories, or one repository, depends on how you look at it, have many things inside them. So now it started to be R, it started to be React, it started to have just generic node builds. It started to have Docker images, Helm, maintenance, versioning, automatic versioning system, and things like that. Which leads to think that the most unuseful thing that I created just because it already existed. We did not have an agreement from our enterprise architecture to use things like Argo CD. So that's why I did myself an Argo CD. Or Argo CD-like. What you see on the left is a file with definitions of the applications, definitions of the components. So there is my application that has a backend, and every data from here is collected and parsed in the GitHub and spits out the releasing workflows. Every workflow that starts with release is being created automatically. It gets done. It gets data from Jira, so you can release certain fixed version, and it creates environments, versions, workflow parts from this YAML file. And the result of it is this file, which means there's a single source of truth for the applications. There is a commit ID, there is a Kubernetes context, there is an image tag, version, build number, everything is inside here. And so you can basically see, and every day, every night actually, there is a build that tears everything down and just checks if things that are installed are here, just because it was sometimes happening that somebody came to the cluster and just destroyed something for me. And next day I came, because I work in 3 time zones, India, Europe, and US/Mexico. Sometimes late evening Mexico, somebody came, so it was late night for me, and they just destroyed something. And next day I came, and oh god, I need to redeploy it. So every morning, every morning there is a teardown mechanism that actually recreates everything from this YAML. Now, so how did I do it? How did it allow us to succeed in things like that? Because we started doing things and we started talking about it internally with certain people. They said, "Oh, no one has done it. It cannot be done in AstraZeneca." And I said, "Okay, I hate the word cannot be done. I hate the word impossible. So let me do it. Let me hold my monster and let me do it." So how did I start it? We started with quick wins. So we identified the things that were easy to do, just to win some people politically, because they need to trust. The management needs to trust us in order to let us do our job without asking every time what you do, how are you doing, and things like that. So we started small. We started with some small repositories, very non-critical applications, and we started showing that it is possible. Then we started sharing the knowledge, so we started doing demos, we started to invite more people, we started community of leaders that basically came and show, hey, you can do it. And they started showing to their teams, which means there were more people asking us, hey, do you have something for this? Do you have something for my problem? So we started doing generic demos, like something called brown bags or anything like that. Are you using brown bags meetings? Yeah, okay. So somewhat around the brown bag. So basically there is a placeholder that you can just jump in and show the things that you want to show and discuss about it, just because just maybe, if you have a problem, somebody already did it. And the big possibility is that in a company that has hundreds of thousands of people, somebody did it. So if we have people behind us politically, if we shared our knowledge, it's time to go wider. Let's start with more critical applications. Let's start with applications that more people are using, and then we can work from there. But always with this. So always with sharing knowledge. So any time that I help with adoption of actions, workflows, or processes that I have, I always was sharing knowledge. That's how I did it. That's why I did it. So basically everyone is feeling safe and secure. And the result is basically a profit. So the profit, however you define it, time, money, safety, security, psychological safety. So with that being said, my biggest take from this story is that it wouldn't be possible if we didn't follow the principle of psychological safety with trust. So the sentence I want to show you is trust your people, because how many leaders are here? Leaders, put your hands up. Okay. If you are a leader, if you are a senior engineer, trust your people you work with. If you are a junior intern, if you are any engineer, if you are any level, trust that your colleagues will do the good work. Don't check every time what they did. Don't try to nag them, or, okay, you cannot do it this way, you cannot. If somebody does something, they're doing this because of certain reason. And if you ask them why and you discuss about it, you will have complete reason why they are doing this, because maybe I need to change my way of thinking. I had situations where I asked juniors about, okay, why are you doing this? And they said, oh, because of this, 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 and this. And I said, okay, so I'm wrong, and you are right. So that's the whole story from me. Feedback highly appreciated. That's my QR code for LinkedIn. Feedback is a Google Forms. If you are able to do it, just I will be very, very thankful for this. But any questions?